with me, our chief foreign editor, Rob Parsons. Rob, that debate in the House of Commons on Brexit, on Theresa May's Brexit deal, is going to take place shortly. First, though, Parliament discussing a row over the legal advice given by the government's chief legal advisor to the government on the deal. What's that all about?
Well, it's like a bump in the road more than anything else, I think. You know, what's happening is that Labour, the Liberal Democrats, the SNP, it's the Scottish National Party, Democratic Union Party from Ulster, the Greens and the Welsh Nationalist Party, Plaid Cymru, are all arguing that unspecified ministers are in contempt of Parliament for not complying with a binding House of Commons vote last month to publish in full the government's chief legal advisor's advice on Brexit. Now, the government is saying it doesn't need to, and the chief legal advisor himself is saying there is no need to. That convention means that it's advice that's given in confidentiality. But that is going to be discussed, and the Speaker says that there is an arguable case that this is indeed in contempt of Parliament. But what does this mean? Well, probably not very much at this stage. In theory, certain members could be suspended if it's agreed that this is really a case of contempt. But given the importance of the Brexit vote, just hours away, and the actual vote itself next week, it's highly unlikely that I think this is going to be anything more than a hiccup.
All right. Now, in another development, the European Court of Justice's Advocate General says the UK should be able to cancel unilaterally its withdrawal from the EU. How significant is that?
Well, it could be significant. This is interesting because the EU has argued itself that that's not the case, that if Britain were to suddenly change its mind, it would need the agreement of the other 27 members of the European Union and the executive bodies that represent the European Union. The British government's case has always been as well that it's hypothetical because the British government's never going to come to that point anyway. But effectively what this does, and assuming that it gets confirmed by the European Court of Justice, and since this comes from the top legal officer, it's almost certain that it would be. But what this does effectively, and this is why it's interesting, is it opens out another possibility. Now, Theresa May, the British Prime Minister, has argued that it's either my deal, my draft deal with the European Union, or it's no deal at all. What this seems to suggest is that there is an alternative. Possibly this opens the way to a second referendum.
All right. Thank you very much indeed, Rob.